Welcome to Westside Level, where your mixing and mastering dreams come true. Today, I'm your host, Rick, and we're getting straight into it. How to compress lead vocals. Now, before we actually get into the technique, let's, like always, review our session. Now, if we look at our session, we can see that our tracks have been gain staged. Everything has been leveled out and assigned to insert 8, 9, and then we have our beat on insert 10. We have insert 9, which is our background vocals, muted. So all we hear is our lead vocals, which is insert 8 balanced against insert 10, which is our beat. Break on them keys and them kicks. Don't throw that pass. Now, if we look at our lead vocals, we could see that we did some cleanup, EQ, and some de-essing. So now we're finally ready for some lead vocal compression. Before we actually engage this compressor, let's go ahead and give a listen to the session without the compressor. Break on the keys and the pick.
Don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. I ain't tryna buy a deuce with the brick course. I'm in this Benz acting up, I know they pissed off. I told Rick, drop a beat up in the shit talk big.
Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and engage the compressor. This is with the compressor engaged on our vocals. None of the knobs have been tweaked yet. And we're going to go ahead and give it a full reset. Perfect. Break on the keys and the
Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. I ain't tryna buy a deuce with the brick course. I'm in this Benz acting up, I know they pissed off. I told Rick, drop a beat up in the shit talk. Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. I ain't tryna buy.
So we can see that just by engaging this compressor and running our signal through this compressor, we're already getting a tonal difference. We're getting some saturation, which is subtle distortion, being added to the vocal. We're also getting a EQ curve, so the tone of our vocal is also being altered, and it's being done in a very nice way. So now that we see what the compressor is doing to our vocal, let's start off with our first parameter, which is going to go ahead and be our input. The first thing I'm going to want to do, well, let me go ahead and explain what the input does. It does two things. It drives our signal into our compressor. And why would we want to do that? Because just like how I explained, this compressor has a subtle distortion or a saturation to it. And the more that we drive our signal into this compressor, the more of that subtle distortion we get. Also, what the input does, other than driving our signal into the compressor, is it also works as a threshold. So the more we drive our input, it will start to introduce some gain reduction. So the first thing I'm going to want to do to my vocal is I'm going to want to drive our input until we get 5 decimals of gain reduction. And I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Rick on the keys and the
Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting pinned up, I know they pissed off. I told Rick, drop a beat, I'm finna shit talk.
Okay, so now that we have 5 decimals of gain reduction being reduced, I'm gonna go ahead and start turning my attention to the ratio section of our compressor. And what is the ratio control? The ratio, the higher the number, you can see that we're at 4:1. If we drive it up to 8:1, what it's going to do is add more compression, more of our 1176 sound. And what the sound of our compressor is this control, pretty much flattening out all of our words so they all are at an even volume. So the more of the ratio we add, the more of that compression we get. So I'm going to go ahead and run through our ratios and see which ratio sounds the best. Which ratio sounds the best for this particular vocal right here. Break on the keys.
Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting talk. Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. I ain't tryna buy a deuce with the brick course. I'm in this Benz acting up, I know they pissed off. I told Rick, drop a beat, I'm finna shit talk.
Alright, so after a while, after some time fishing around our ratios and listening closely to them, I went ahead and sat my ratio at 8-1. And why did I choose 8-1? Because I felt around 4-1 that our compressor wasn't giving us enough control over our dynamics, really leveling out our the words that he's saying. But I felt like when I drove it up to 12, forgive me, I felt like when I drove it up to 12-1, it was giving us a little too much control, and it was taking the life out of our vocal. So when I put it to 8-1, that was kind of our sweet spot that got the vocal sounding really nice. So that's where I'm going to set my ratio. So just to review where we're at with our compressor right now, we've driven our input to knock around 5 decimals of gain reduction. Now we went through and we chosen a ratio of 8, but at any different case with different mixes, it can be a different ratio at any time. Now that we've done these two things, let's look at our attack and our release times. Now, before we even do anything, any listening, before we play anything, I want to set my attack time all the way slow. And what I'm going to do is set my release time all the way fast. Why am I doing this? Is because it's going to make the compressor as transparent as possible, and it's going to give us the least amount of the compression sound. And you'll see more so what I'm talking about when I dive into each particular knob. Now here on the 1176 compressor, the 7 is the fastest time, and then the 1 is the slowest time. So I'm going to go ahead and set my I'll start playing with the input, but no, I'm going to go ahead and set my attack to 1, and I'm going to set my release to 7 before we even did any listening or anything. And now I'm going to focus and hone in on my release. And when I play the vocal and I'm setting my release, what I'm listening for is the release. The more I slow down my release and I drive it to a slower time, the more of the 1176 sound I'm going to get, at the expense of me destroying the groove or tampering with the groove of my vocal or whatever signal I'm processing through a compressor. But in this case, it's going to be a vocal. So I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm going to give it as much as 1176 as I can possibly give it, but I also want to keep in mind and preserve my groove of my vocal.
Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. They pissed off. I told Rick, drop a beat, I'm finna shit talk. Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off.
Alright, so when setting my release, I sat it around in the middle of 3 and 5. And the reason I chose that is because I drove our release and slowed it down past 5, and that gave us some of that 1176 sound, but it also it preserved the energy and the rhythm of our vocal. If I drove it all the way to 3 or even to 1, it would have started destroying the groove of the vocal. So now I'm going to go ahead into setting my attack time. Now the thing with the attack time is, the faster the attack time, which means if we put it all the way to 7, the more of the 1176 sound, the more of that compression sound we get, the more of that control sound we get of leveling out all of our words in our vocal. But we get that at the expense of losing the punch and the excitement of our vocal. So we're going to try to add as much attack as we can possibly add, and we're going to try to drive that, but we're going to also try to preserve the energy and the dynamics of our vocal. Let's go ahead and do that.
Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. I ain't tryna buy a deuce with the brick course. I'm in this bitch.
Alright, so I really want you to listen to this attack here. Notice when I drive it all the way fast, Notice how dull the vocal gets when I put it all the way to 7.
Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. I ain't tryna buy a deuce with the brick course. I'm in this Benz acting up, I know they pissed off.
Now when I open it up and I open up the attack to 5, we still get that thickness of the 1176, but then we just get just a little bit more excitement. That's the excitement I was talking about, that dynamics that makes the vocal sound good. Listen to this.
Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. I ain't tryna buy a deuce with the brick course. I'm in this Benz acting up, I know they pissed off. I told Rick, drop a beat, I'm finna shit talk. Big dog, don't throw that.
So now we have our attack and our release time set. Now, before we get into a final A and B, let's go ahead and gain stage so we can really get a good comparison. And to do that, we're going to use our output knob. Let's start off by turning off our plugin and seeing where we were at.
Brick on the keys and the pick. Don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off.
Okay, so it looks like we're right under 18 dB. Let's go ahead and gain stage our 1176 down to that level.
Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. I ain't tryna buy. Don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off.
Alright, so now I use that output knob to go ahead and gain stage us. Let's go ahead and give this compressor a full A and B, and let's see where we started. So this is without our 1176 compressor engaged.
Brick on the keys and the pick. Don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. I ain't tryna buy a deuce with the brick course. I'm in this Benz acting up, I know they pissed off. I told Rick, drop a beat, I'm finna shit talk.
26. This is with the compressor.
Brick on the keys and the pick. Don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. I ain't tryna buy a deuce with the brick course. I'm in this Benz acting up, I know they pissed off. I told Rick, drop a beat, I'm finna shit talk. Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. I ain't tryna buy a deuce with the brick course. I'm in this Benz acting up, I know they pissed off. I told Rick, drop a beat, I'm finna shit talk.
And just to go ahead and give us a full comparison, I'm gonna play it and jump the compressor in and out.
Brick on the keys and the pick. Don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. I ain't tryna buy a deuce with the brick course. I'm in this Benz acting up, I know they pissed off. I told Rick, drop a beat, I'm finna shit talk. Big dog, don't throw that pass, it's getting picked off. I ain't tryna buy a deuce with the brick course. I'm in this Benz acting up, I know they pissed off. I told Rick, drop a beat, I'm finna shit talk.
Alright, and that was our tutorial on compressing our lead vocal. Like always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Or if you just want to show love, leave them in the comments. I appreciate everybody that's been showing love lately. And go ahead and give me a like. Y'all be smooth. Thank you. I'll see you on the next episode. Gone.